So, I wanted to do a little discussion about a local race that's happening in Queens. Yesterday I did some videos about like the primary, the Democratic primary, and I kind of want to focus on more local politics more than I do federal, just because I feel like it impacts us more, right? So we have a district attorney race in Queens. A young woman named Tiffany Caban is running. She's a 31-year-old queer Puerto Rican lady, and I support that candidate. She has a history of being a public defender in Queens. AOC recently endorsed her, which is super cool. That's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, somebody that I definitely messes with, and she's shaking up the system. We need more candidates and more positions that are willing to just shake shit up and tell the truth, right? And I believe Tiffany Caban will be one of these. And if AOC's vouch says anything, I'm probably right. So a little bit about her. She defended 1,000 clients in her tenure as a public defender. So that to me is important because the district attorney office basically sets the tone for the prosecutorial nature of a county, right? So in a certain county, what's deemed as illegal, how we go after it, how the whole justice system kind of works as far as the prosecution is concerned. A lot of that stuff, it really comes from the district attorney office. So if you're an individual who's concerned about criminal justice, right? You're maybe a person of color who lives in Queens, you're a black person, Latino person, whatever. You live in Queens. This is a race that I think you should pay attention to. Because again, we feel like there's this big difference between politics at large and us, but here's an opportunity, and I'm going to give you some more details, obviously. But here's an opportunity where we can get involved and really do something to change something that can literally make a difference the next week, right? And I'll give you an example on that. So, like I said, she has a history, and she's known for defending people. And to have a public defender, be in the district attorney's office, who's responsible for prosecution. That's interesting, and that's dope to me because you're gonna have from the district attorney's office seeks to prosecute and go hard and go after, whereas the public defendant, their purview is to try and defend, to try to find reasons or try to find expound and find details that could lead to a crime or that could there are other things at play as opposed to just being so harsh against people who we consider to be criminals, right? So I think she's going to give a good opposing perspective to that hard on crime stance that has to go. Because we literally have 2.3 million people in prison in this country, and it's supposed to be the land of the free. And we have the highest prison population of any other developed nation. Bullshit. And she's going to change that. She's going to help change that. All right. So she's about de-incarceration, which you could probably imagine, ending cash bail, decriminalizing sex work. She favors like a holistic trauma-informed, is what she calls it, a holistic trauma-informed approach to criminal justice. Now, if you look a little bit into her story, you find she had a grandfather a little before she was born that used to like beat on her grandma. And he ended up divorcing her. She ended up divorcing him. It was a whole thing. When you look into that story, you find the gentleman, her grandfather, was a Vietnam veteran. And he suffered with PTSD. So from the outside looking in, that's a family that this guy needs to go to prison. He beats his wife. Why do we look at it like that? Why can't it be this guy needs help? He was literally a veteran that suffered from PTSD, and he was able to get help, and things changed. And it seems that occurrence in her life is what really informs her decisions and what she tries to accomplish and what she advocates for. And I think that's dope as all hell. So that story was cool. Let me give you some information against one of the front runners that she's running against. It's a woman named Melinda Katz, and she's a 25-year politician and a former real estate lobbyist. You're done. I'm not with it. I'm not with it. Now, if you live in Queens or in New York, you understand that real estate is a huge issue out here. Housing is way too expensive, just like a lot of other cities all around this country. Hella expensive, and the reason why is because they kind of game the system and set up zoning laws that favor wealthy developers. And I'm not interested, even though Melinda Katz is running for a position as a district attorney, She was a real estate lobbyist, which means she's down with the cause that literally caused us so much pain, us regular citizens, so many issues with paying our rent and finding good places to live that we can afford. So I'm not interested in her off the bat. She's an insider, and we need systemic change. I'll always say that. Even on a local level, we need systemic change in this country, right? So I'm not interested in Melinda Katz. I think there's about 7 other candidates running, but I'm not going to give a run through on them. I'm just going to give a rundown on the candidate I support. And her name again is Tiffany Caban. And June 25th is the election day. So if you're in Queens, if you live in Queens, you're a resident of Queens, and you're a person who believes in criminal justice and believes that this system needs to be reformed, vote for Tiffany Caban. Issue that happened in Ferguson with Mike Brown. Just to give you guys some real touches, right? We know that we were mad about what happened with Mike Brown, right? And to bring us back, there was an officer named Darren Williams who encountered a man named Mike Brown walking, heading his way home in Ferguson, Missouri, and basically had a altercation with him. He ended up trying to stop him, and at the end of the day, innocent, or not innocent, let me not say that, but an unarmed black man got shot, right? Now, what should happen in situations like these is that the district attorney's office, right? Now, this time, we're talking about another county, but, St. Louis County in Missouri. The district attorney's office, their job is to prosecute criminals. Now, the details that you have here are that there was a young man, Mike Brown, who wasn't armed and was shot by a cop. Now, we need to flesh through these details. We need to get through and figure out who was wrong, what happened. And that's the job of the DA, like I said, to set the tone for the prosecutorial nature of an area, of a county, right? So this is the tone that he set. His name was, because he got his ass kicked out of there, and that's a good thing. His name was McCullough. Bob McCullough was his name. And his job was to basically do, when you're getting into a case, you're gonna explore details, right? Bring out all the details. I think it's called exposition, yeah. Where you're exposing all of the details in a case, and you're examining whether or not there is a case to be brought against an individual that might have done something wrong. And when that case is brought and they give him the charges, that's called an indictment. So, in other words, there's no case yet, right? Your job as a district attorney, at that juncture, is to set up a offense. Like say, okay, we're going to charge you with this. Bob McCullough didn't even open up any type of investigation to expose any details or anything. He just did not indict. Now again, an indictment is not a conviction. They're two different things. An indictment is simply saying these are the charges against you because it appears you did something wrong. Now let's have a trial and see if we can come to some conclusion and either take the charges away, say you're innocent, or convict you. He didn't even do that. So that's an issue that Bob McCullough had. And because of that, let me tell you what happened. As we know, there were these big protests down there in Ferguson, Missouri, and Bob McCullough was voted out of office. Now they have a new district attorney down there in Missouri, in Ferguson, Missouri, for the county of St. Louis, because it's St. Louis County. Ferguson is in St. Louis County. So they have a new guy. His name is Wesley Bell, and he's a reformer. He's a person that wants to set up an independent prosecution for cops that do messed up things, like kill innocent people or unarmed people. Why? Because we find in a lot of these counties, the DA's office is way too close to the cops. So you need someone independent to come and check that out, right? And these are the things that these new progressive district attorneys are advocating for, and they're doing it, which is a good thing. So we need the same thing in Queens, right? The current guy that runs the district attorney's office in Queens, he actually passed away, I believe, very early this year or late last year. He was like 85 years old. He's been doing it his whole life, literally. So, I mean, his tenure's up, and now we need a new fresh face in there that comes from the defensive perspective. Like, that to me is so dope. Like, it's so dope. So, like I said, June 25th, go out, vote Tiffany Caban. If you live in Queens, you know, I got the Brooklyn hat on. I live in Brooklyn, so I can't do that. But, you know, I'd be honored if I could. And anyone that lives in Queens, that's within the hearing of my voice, within the seeing of my face, get her done. Get her done. Tiffany Caban, June 25th. Don't forget. Vote. So I want to express that the idea here is not to act like criminals don't deserve prison or they don't deserve harsh punishment if they do something terrible. That's not what I'm saying, and I want to be understood here. There are so many elements that affect so many other things in this world. In order for justice to truly be justice, some things that might have affected some outcomes need to be examined. So, for instance, taking Tiffany Caban's grandfather example again, right? You have this, I think in this country, within our culture, we have this crazy penalizing and a desire, to penalize and overtly and strongly go after criminals. But isn't the truth about justice is that it has to encompass facts. It has to encompass details in order for it to really be justice. Because the idea of justice is that you want to get the right result for something that was done that was wrong, right? And amelioration, that's what we're talking about. So the more details you pull up, whether they're against the defendant, whether they're for the defendant, get more details, get more understanding, and get more knowledge, and you can do better towards getting towards justice. So that's my stance. My stance is not soft on crime. And I want to have a discussion about that. If you're watching this video anywhere, like, do you not think that we should examine and be more holistic with our approach when it comes to criminality and the way we view criminality? Definitely the way we prosecute criminality. I think so. And I don't think that's asking for much. I don't think that makes me soft on crime or whatever either. Yeah, let's have that discussion.